Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of Seen Beyond and Through with Monty. Right before you is an actor who is in the new Netflix Jeffrey Dahmer movie. I guess they have made this into a series, and it has stirred, I should say, very strong opinions. And now Netflix has added Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, to its list of Dahmer-centered films, and shows that honestly never should have been made. Okay, and Boozy had very strong words about this particular movie, about the making of it. He wasn't happy. And he goes on to say, as black people, we should boycott the Jeffrey Dahmer movie. What he did to our black kids is effing sick. Take this movie down. It's sick. Now, I have disagreed with Boozy on a lot of things, but this is one issue that I do agree with him about. See, I'm in line with a lot of other people in criticizing this particular movie, and I absolutely will not be watching it because I think that there is an agenda behind it, which I will get into, but I don't see a need for it being made, particularly when there's been so many other documentaries, films, video clips about what he did, about his life, about the victims, that I don't see a need. Jeffrey Dahmer killed 17 people. These are the victims and what we know about them. See, many people feel that it's unfair to the victims, and what it's doing to their family is that it's re-traumatizing them. And I do agree with that. And here's the problem. One of the problems which I have with this here. I am not going to sit down for entertainment for an hour or so and somehow enjoy watching for entertainment people whose lives have been tragically altered forever. Just so I can be entertained for an hour, so I can escape my problems, so I can have some leisure time and look at tragedy, regardless if the excuse is that, oh, it's telling the victim's side of the story. No, you're trying to butter the pan, so to speak. That's not what's being done here. Dahmer Monster, Jeffrey Dahmer story is being called out by Elroy Lindsay's family for being made without their consent. So apparently it was made without the family's consent. I don't know if you really need their consent, but I do believe that it would have been courteous to at least reach out to them. Now, someone wrote down here, this is a family member. Okay, I'm not telling anyone what to watch. I know true crime media is huge. But if you're actually curious about the victims, my family, the Isbels, are pissed about the show. It's re-traumatizing over and over again. And for what? How many movies, shows, documentaries do we need? Exactly. How many do we need? Why are we using this family's trauma and all the others for entertainment? We need to look at ourselves and ask, why is this entertaining to us? We have documentary series. There's been movies. There's been articles written. We have enough to go by. What is the point of doing this? Relatives of Jeffrey Dahmer victim says Netflix monster slash film. So basically, they're not happy with it. We know that this is, many relatives have spoken out against this particular film and stated that it's very cruel. By the way, ironically, Netflix, the wife of Netflix, her mother was murdered by an intruder. I wonder would she like a documentary made about the murderer who tragically killed her mother? I'm just wondering that. People probably would not. But here's the many movies that have been made about Jeffrey Dahmer that I don't really see a need to go into another movie. And it's just tragic that we look at things like this for entertainment. And people who look at things for entertainment, many a times they miss a bigger picture. They miss an agenda that is behind it, such as certain people who have been planted into the black community to tear apart, to destroy, to weaken the black family structure. And people tend to forget that Hollywood is full of demonic energies. There's never been a time really that Hollywood has not had these type of certain spirits or energies that is there doing their bidding. And we know that, speaking of agendas, black exploitation movies in the 1970s, we can see how much damage they have done to the black community. Pretty much with this whole pimping and hoe lifestyle that they uplift and uphold, glorifying that. Look at the damage that it's done today. Look at all the men who are still in jail, in prison, out of things like selling drugs. You know, drugs weren't that big of a problem until we started seeing certain people in movies, black exploitation movies, glorifying this drug culture, doing drugs up there on screen, which translated over into real life. Entertainment is a very powerful mind control medium that has oftentimes been used to shift the attitudes and the actions of certain societies, people, or neighborhoods. We'll get into that. Okay, why are we boycotting? Shouldn't it be shown it's real, this happened? This is a person right here who wants to see it for the entertainment value. The problem with this right here is that they have no clue that there is an agenda behind it. And this is a problem. When you look at this just to be cheaply entertained, you pay a price. Let's look at what others have to say. Okay, it's people glorifying it that has me annoyed. Me too, exactly. When you're sitting down there, you're enjoying it, you're allowing it to take up an hour of your life, and you're going to allow this ongoing series, you're going to tune in. What are you doing right then and there? You're giving your energy, you're giving your time, your freedom away to this piece of junk right here. And people just don't realize that. Okay, he's had like 3 documentaries before this one. This ain't nothing new. LOL. Exactly. There's been more than 3, though. There's been a lot of documentaries about Jeffrey Dahmer. This story has been told over and over for years. Y'all do too much. So we have to wonder, if it's been told over and over and over again, what is the point of making another one? Now, I had mentioned that there's an agenda behind this. And I had mentioned something about we need to be very careful, and about how Hollywood has always been controlled by evil, demonic energies, spirits. Now, we're just coming out of a coronavirus pandemic. People are in a very weakened mental and a very vulnerable state. Spiritually, mentally, they're weakened. And I spoke of an agenda. I want you guys just to think about this. Energy is being given to this guy's actions, Jeffrey Dahmer's evil actions of murdering 17 people. Don't you think that can spawn people to do copycats? At a time when we just came out of a pandemic for 2.5 years now, all of a sudden you're going to show a Jeffrey Dahmer movie when people are in a very vulnerable, weakened state. Don't you think that is going to spawn copycats? Isn't this a way for people to live on forever? They can become a serial killer. Movies are made about them. Docu-series are made about them. Articles are written about them. Guess what? They're famous now. And by the way, if you're not a Beyonce, Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, for most of us, when we die, we're going to be forgotten except by family members. But someone like Jeffrey Dahmer, it has put him up there with the likes of those people who I've just mentioned, with the Beyoncés, with the Elvis Presleys, with the Aretha Franklins. So now he gets to live on forever. So can't you guys see that this can spawn someone who's not all the way there upstairs, who have a few screws loosened? They can spawn people to maybe want to copycat and do something like this. Netflix knows this. The entertainment industry is aware of this. You're putting this out there for what? For people to copycat. And the victims were 17 black people, victims, a majority of them. Kind of like you are giving praise to this. Why even make a movie about this demonic person right here? Why even give, the value of putting resources into this? Money, time. Why are people sitting down each week an hour tuning into this madness right here? You got to see what this has done to us. And we have got to understand when people get up there and say, well, it should be made or it should be watched because it's real life. It doesn't have to be. There's enough written about him already that we know of. What we're looking at right here is nothing more than propaganda. We're looking at nothing more than something that's agenda driven. That is something that's trying to sway certain people to act in a certain way, to do certain things, to copycat. But we don't realize that. We fail to realize what a powerful medium entertainment can be and how it has been used covertly to influence the masses. But so many of us are looking at the entertainment value of it. We just want to be entertained for that hour, regardless of if there were innocent victims or not. Regardless of what, and by the way, back up. Innocent victims. Yes, I said innocent victims. Regardless of their sexuality, if they just went there to have sex with another grown consenting adult, that is still an innocent victim. So take this junk out about how you feel about someone's sexuality. They're innocent. But family members are still being victimized over and over again by this trash right here. Because Netflix chose to make this or to air it. So people, you guys have got to be more aware. We got to look at things in a deeper context of what the agenda behind it could be. How this can affect certain people. How it can influence certain people. Let's not be so lost on we need to be entertained. And I get about society. I know that, we go to work, we come home, we need an escapism, but let's find other things to escape. I'm on YouTube, yes. I watch shows about animals. I watch tennis. I watch gymnastics. I escape in that particular way. I watch old Whitney Houston concerts. There's a lot of other things that we can use for entertainment besides tuning into something like this that is so agenda driven. And it's just very blatantly out there, in my opinion. If you understand Hollywood, if you understand, Hollywood, Los Angeles, full of demonic energies, demonic spirits, that is all embedded into the entertainment industry. What makes you think that this film is any different? So we just need to be aware. We need to really allow the Spirit of God to work within us so we can discern certain things. And not just be so caught up on, wanting to be entertained or wanting to escape with the wrong means or the wrong projects. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is another edition of Seeing Beyond and Through with Monty. Beyond and Through.